Hi everyone, welcome back to Casual Watch Review channel. You've got a huge box in a lovely lacquered high quality box, and it's from our friends over at Jack Mason, who've very kindly loaned me one of the new Pilot watches, which is to celebrate their 10th anniversary. They've loaned me one of their new Pilot watches for us to have a look at. I recently went to the Dallas wind up and the Jack Mason stand was swamped. Obviously it's a Dallas brand as well, but people really interested in seeing this watch and the other just fantastic watches that they've been releasing over the last couple of years. This is probably the 5th or 6th Jack Mason that I've reviewed on the channel. Really impressed. This one, as you probably know from watching the channel, doesn't have the date on it, so it's not to my personal taste, but I am very interested to know what you guys think. So as you're watching this, let me know in the comment section. So let's flip the camera around and let's look at this new Pilot's watch coming in from our friends over at Jack Mason. Struggling to fit this box onto the desk here. This box is the upgraded box that I think you pay an extra $125 to have it in this display box. This is a beautiful lacquered wooden box. Just get my fingerprints off there. The Texas star, which is now iconic to, well, both Texas and Jack Mason. Beautiful presentation box. Little push button clasp, paperwork in the top, a little certificate of regulation. This isn't a COSC certification. This is Jack Mason time these movements themselves, so they do the timing of the movements. This is using the Joux Perret movement, which we have seen them use before, but it is featured in this watch as well. In fact, this is one of the most affordable ways that you can get that movement, because this watch is coming in at $1,399. This is the celebrating 10 years of Jack Mason, this Pilot, the purest Pilot watch. The box, I think for $125, if you're a Jack Mason fan and you're going to keep the watch displayed like this, is a cracking deal actually. This feels very, very premium. I think if you don't have that box, if you don't pay for that box, you'd probably get it in one of their standard book boxes, which I actually like. You can put it on a shelf. It looks like a secret book, a spy book where they've hidden the watch inside it. So this is the new Pilot watch. This is to celebrate 10 years of Jack Mason. There is a special anniversary edition of this that comes in titanium, has more photina on it, and then instead of the 10, that one has an X on it. This is the stainless steel version. This is the olive drab. It also comes in a frost, a silver version, and then a black shadow version as well, which is probably more traditional to a Pilot watch. But this is the olive drab one. As we can see, it's got olive on there, then a white, slightly creamy lume, and then the automatic is in orange, white second hand, and we have the Texas star on the dial, which is mark of, well, Texas and also Jack Mason. Little disclaimer before I dive into this. I am a big fan of Jack Mason, the brand. Peter, one of the founders of Jack Mason, he's been on the live stream, been on this channel to talk through some of the ways that they design these watches. He always seeks me out when we're at watch events. I always have a good chat with him. I am a big fan of these American independent brands, so I'm not totally unbiased here. I'm a fan of this brand already. So even though it is a Pilot watch, it does have a nice size to it. It looks visually large, but it is in fact only 39 millimeters case, and then we have a 46 from lug to lug. Because it's using a Joux Perret Swiss movement that I mentioned that Jack Mason do regulate in-house. This is the G101 that they also use in their Canton version. It's coming in at only 11.8 millimeters thick, so wears very nicely close to the wrist, and we'll do a wrist shot later on. The bracelets on Jack Mason, always a huge fan of. This is a 20mm lug width, female end link, so it articulates nicely down if you've got smaller wrists. Polishing and brushing on the bracelet. Beautiful machined mechanism on the deployant there, push button deployant. But one of my absolute favorite and things about Jack Mason is this quick adjust, micro adjust on the clasp. So as you can see on the bottom there, if I just pull it out, quickly push it along and snap it back in, I've got at least, it looks like 2.5 links worth of adjustment there. So probably one of the most adjustable clasps of any independent brand. And I think this is up there with some of my favorites. Christopher Ward and Zelos as well also do a really nice micro on the fly adjustment clasp. In fact, let me see if on my 7.2 inch wrist, let me see if adjusting it all the way down means that I don't actually have to adjust the bracelet at all. Yes, there you go. So even though the bracelet has all of the links still in there. I haven't adjusted this. This was just a press loaner from Jack Mason, so I'm not going to adjust it for my bracelet. So even though I haven't taken any links out, if I adjust the bracelet all the way down, you can see it fits me almost perfectly. Beautiful balance on this case, low profile because of that Joux Perret movement at only 11.8 millimeters thickness. So let me just show you, if I adjust it all the way back, you'll see how much extra there is there. So it'll certainly fit a larger wrist as well. And then you've got that micro adjust, which I really appreciate because my wrist does swell, certainly in the heat. The case on this watch is beautifully executed, oversized crown. It features on a lot of their watches, but particularly looks good on this watch that is supposed to be a pilot watch or homaging a pilot watch. Beautiful polishing and then brushing down the chamfers. The bracelet fits beautifully towards the case. Screw case back in the fact that it has 4 screws, so the Jack Mason logo perfectly lines up. One of the interesting things about this, even though the Joux Perret movement isn't particularly anti-magnetic, they have put an anti-magnetic inner core. Will help resist magnetic fields because of the inner core that they've put in here. The loom is absolutely spectacular. They are using a solid loom. Loom is molded. As you can see on some of these macro shots, that there is a thicker block of loom instead of it being a painted onto the dial. Because of this technology and the upgraded loom, this is an increase of 87% loom brightness over 60 minutes. Extremely vibrant. For 150 meters of water resistant, flat sapphire crystal. The execution of Jack Mason and the way that Peter at Jack Mason designs these is everything is about attention to detail, and you can certainly see it with this model. Everything fits nicely. There is no rattle in the bracelet. The clasp works perfectly. Sharp. Polishing is done to a very high standard. Beautiful action on the crown, as well as a beautiful winding action. I think it's also coming in at a great price point of $1,399, which is one of the most affordable ways that you can get that Joux Perret movement. There is watches that use this Joux Perret movement that are at least double this price, if not more, because it is a very sought after movement. Joux Perret was recently bought by Citizen and is being kept as their Citizen sort of premium watch movement brand. Maybe if they do a version with the date on, I might be tempted to pick one of these up myself. A big thanks to them for sending this in. It will go back in that very beautiful wooden lacquered box and be back in the post to them. So big thanks to them for sending this in for review. More importantly, what did you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, love it if you hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up and the bell notification. And I'll see you all next time on Casual Watch Reviews.